Welcome to Chat Chow, an online weekly show interviewing the personalities behind Florida's food scene. On today's episode, we'll be speaking with Norman Van Aken, Executive Chef and Director of Restaurants at the Miami Culinary Institute's Tuyo. Chef Norman Van Aken, what a pleasure it is to be interviewing the founding father of New World Cuisine.
Wow, thank you, Lauren.
Now, explain to the viewers who don't know what that means, what it means.
Well, it means Florida. It means South Florida, really. When I began cooking in Florida, it was in Key West in the 70s. And over the course of time from the 70s through the 80s and so, America was on a quest to discover its American sort of flavors. Right. And I saw the California food movement and the Southwestern food movement, and it occurred to me that we needed to have representation ourselves. And so I sort of stuck my flag in Key West sand, and then that grew into the Miami sand, and I became known for having the food that sort of exemplified South Florida.
Now, you have an extensive background. You've got 2 James Beard Awards, multiple restaurants, you've publisher of books, and here you are, you're the Director of Restaurants at the Miami Culinary Institute, Tuyo. Mm-hmm. And explain that collaboration, the school with the restaurant, and how that came to be.
It was the invitation to join a school that really made the big difference for me, Lauren. It's unique. You know, I've done restaurants, and I'm really proud of the restaurants, from Louis' Backyard in Key West through Amano on South Beach, and of course ultimately to the long run of Norman's and Coral Gables. But when Dr. Eduardo Padron, who's the head of Miami Dade College, created Miami Culinary Institute and hired a gentleman named John Richards to sort of take the direction of the school, they founded a chef's council, and they asked the chefs to come and give guidance to the curriculum for the school. And that's how I met the school. And they had me look out the window behind us. And I kind of went, I'm not done. I need to go back out for another decade here at least, and do the things I love to do with cuisine. And in this happenstance, I hope to, and I know I will, I'll integrate the students along with the sort of students of life that I've taught through the many restaurants in the past.
And you guys have your very own organic garden, right?
Exactly,
and
yes.
Where is that organic garden?
It's a block away from here, and it's an everyday thing for us to get over to the garden and pick things out, and students go over to the garden as well, and we're just about to get into a nice new push on the garden. Gabrielle Maruski of Paradise is the person who has been heading that up.
Paradise Farms?
Yeah, Paradise Farms.
Yes. Very familiar. We actually went out to Tina's Pride recently, so it's.
Oh, Tina's been someone I've been utilizing for God knows. I've seen menus of ours from the old where Betsy Ross Hotel is, Amano days, and Tina's name is on the menu. And Tina will be quick to point out that we were doing things with her a long, long time ago. And back then, amazingly, a lot of the things were going from Homestead past Miami to markets in the north that were more receptive to the idea of these fruits and vegetables at that time. Right. But now it's come to fruition.
Yeah, it's definitely everywhere. You hear it. Now, I mentioned before I'd come here recently for my birthday, and I know I have my favorite dishes, but what are some of the most popular dishes, and why do you think they're so popular? What makes them work?
I'm so glad you didn't ask me what my most favorite dish was, because it's impossible. I say to the guests, and they're like my children, I can't pick one. It was important for me to create dishes that told a true story. I don't care about making dishes that are about, filling people up. They're not coming here to fill up. I don't care about making plates that are sort of about a few ingredients that go well together, even though they may go very famously together. Each and every one of the dishes sort of has its own storyline to it. The yuca stuffed crispy shrimp, the Down Island French toast, the Brazilian creamy cracked conch chowder, the pan-cooked filet of Key West yellowtail with a belly of mashed potatoes. That's the #1 seller. Pork Havana bananas, the Mongolian barbecued veal chop is, for some reason in this restaurant, is selling more than the other restaurants that I've done in my past. I don't know why. The rum and pepper painted grouper. These are dishes that if if we sat around with some of the alumni of Norman's, whether they were the people who cooked at Norman's, served at Norman's, or guests of Norman's, they will start talking about those dishes like people would talk about favorite songs of a favorite band after a little while. Really unique, really different, and I've come to not only be at peace with it, I really enjoy the fact that we have signature dishes. I'm not ashamed of it.
And that's special. And you know, even beyond the dishes was the service. Your service was impeccable.
Well, thank you.
Impeccable. I mean, French Laundry, so everybody came out. It was like orchestrated. It was really fantastic, on point.
I am raised by a woman. I told you about her Girl Scout days. Well, also my mother was a restaurateur, and she was front of the house, hostess, manager, before that waitress. And when my mom would come home from work, and I was in grade school, my older sister Jane and her would count tips at the kitchen table, and while they stacked up the nickels and the quarters and the dimes, they would talk about the service and the guests and who came in and how they were in a bad mood when they came in and how they were in a wonderful mood when they left. I'm doing my geography lesson or my history lesson or something like that. That's all going in my head at 13 years old, 14 years old, so that later on, when it came my turn to become a restaurateur, the front of the house was not something I didn't pay attention to. My mother instructed me otherwise, and so those lessons never leave you.
You're ingrained in. You've published 4 books. Rumor has it you have another one coming out called My Key West Kitchen.
Spread the rumor.
All right,
yes.
let's spread the rumor. So when can we expect that book? What's it about? I mean, I know you talked about, you started in the Keys, so I guess that's appropriate.
Yeah, I think it's a culinary love letter to the town that really turned me on to Florida cooking all the way. When I first got to Key West, I was a blank slate up here when it came to cuisine, even though I'd been exposed to the restaurant business a little bit, but it was tasting foods in the little diners and joints and the Cuban restaurants, the Bahamian restaurants, the Haitian restaurants, the homes of Key West in those early years that created a palate for me that, thank God, because if I would have started cooking for 20 years, let's say in New York or somewhere else, never would have happened. There would be no Father of New World Cuisine thing going on. And so the books give me an opportunity to share the passion and the love of these flavors in another way than the restaurant can. Almost everyone in all parts of America and beyond can get the book. Not everybody can come to your restaurant. We can expect it in November, and I'm also proud to say that my son is the co-author of this book. He was born in Key West, and he grew up with me in the restaurant business, and my wife Janet has always been the one that's been my co-author, but this time it's not only Janet, it's also Justin. And as a young culinary person who grew up in Key West, he had special insight, and I wanted him to help me, and he has.
That's great.
So November when it will be out.
November. All right, stay tuned.
Right.
And thank you so much. Final cheers.
Well, cheers to you
I
too.
was very good today.